Today I'm going to start laying the floor. It's a fun job if you enjoy doing this kind of stuff. And I do kind of enjoy it. So I'll get started. I'll try to show you every little detail. And I've got my table saw set up in the garage. And it's supposed to storm later this afternoon, evening, so I don't know how long I'll be doing it. Because it's supposed to hail, possibly. And a low chance of a tornado. But I want to pull my car back in the garage before all that goes on. So, we'll get started. Okay, first, you want to wear shoes that are easily removed so that when you walk on this underlayment, you can take off your shoes. If you're like me, you don't want to get any dust on it. If you're not like me, you can wear your shoes. I've seen worse. And anyway, what you'll need is these spacers to put at the end of every board and at the end of the sides. And you'll need a block to hit it with. But that one's sort of been butchered the last time I did install. Sometimes I use this to try to knock it into space. And then you'll need this, which I don't know what that's called, but it helps also, you'll see when I use it, how it, and a big soft hammer like that. And then what I did in the interim is I fixed these two sheets. And one of them is for along the back side of the wall, and I have the exact dimensions of each board to show me how many boards, full boards will go, and then what I will need to reach the total that I want, that I need for that space. And the way that I arrived at that, I know I had it here somewhere. Okay, I found it. Okay. The way that I figured the amount that I needed for the length of these boards, the way that I'm putting it lengthwise, is that I measured the total amount of space, which was exactly 10 feet. 10 feet. And then I multiplied by 12 inches, I get 120 inches, and I subtract 3/4 of an inch. The reason I subtract 3/4 of an inch is that is 3/8 inch twice. And I come up with 119.25 inches. That's the board length as far as that goes. And that's how I come up with each total that goes across the wall like that. And lengthwise will be 119 inches, 119.25 inches. So that last board I will cut 24.77 inches. And you put spacers in there, and that's why around there you put those 3/8 inch spacers in there, and that's what keeps the 3/8 inches. And once you finish the whole floor, you take those spacers out and you put the backer rod in, which is 3/8 inches, and then you caulk around that. And then as far as the width of the boards, I did the same thing. It was 11 feet times 12, which is 132 inches, minus the 0.75 inches equals 131.25 inches. So as far as the width of each board, each row will have to be 131.25 inches. And for the first row, I like my floors to be centered. So what I did was I measured how many boards it would take full size, and then for these two boards I tried to get the ones on each end as equal as I could, and so each one will be 4.22 inches and one will be 4.23 inches on either side of the wall. But when I'm doing this, I had to figure out in the closet, because when it comes back this way, you only have so many boards, and I didn't want to end up with one board here having just 1 inch or a ½ inch. So I wanted to make sure that that would work out too when I'm doing it this way. You have to look at the whole floor before you even get started to make sure that you're not going to end up with one end of it with only like a ½ inch sliver of flooring that you need to put down. Take the whole thing into consideration at first. And that's why I love working with Excel spreadsheet. It just makes it a whole lot easier. So I think I've covered everything. I've got my first 3 boards and I leave the numbers on them. And I'm going to take them to the table saw, which I have set up in the garage. I don't know if I'll be able to, I'll try to film it, but it may be so loud, but we'll see. And I also have the vacuum cleaner that I hooked up to the table saw because I wanted it to collect all the dust. So I probably won't talk any in the garage. I'll just try to set this up so you can at least see what I'm trying to do. Like first I'll split these boards to fit that first board that I need, which was 4.23. So all 3 of these boards I'll split 4.23 inches. And then whichever board I decide to be at the end, I'll cut off this little lip here. And then on the other side, I'll do the same thing. I'll cut off the little lip at the end that goes against the wall. You cut off any of these little lips. Okay, we'll go down and do some sawing. Okay, that first row takes the longest to cut, and I didn't show me cutting it because it was just too loud, the saw. But I'll show you where I have it set up out in the garage. And then it gets easier from here because you don't have to split any boards. You just have to, particularly on the ends, cut off that end so that it's flush to the wall when you start on either end. But that's all the cutting you'll need to be. Cut it to size on one of the end walls, and then a full board goes in the middle. And it's pretty easy. It's just a matter of climbing up and down the stairs and getting it cut. I can show you my setup here in the garage. See, there's my table saw. There's my shop vac that I have hooked up to it so it won't leave any dust. And I unplug it after each use just because I don't want it to ever be plugged up unless I want to use it. There's all the tools that I have to use. I do put on eye goggles and a mask when I'm using it. And also, I love this saw. It's a DeWalt. I've had it for quite a while. And I bought a new blade for it. And the other day I tried to change it, but in my socket wrench set, I didn't have one big enough to change it. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I was lucky I found the directions and it said that there was one that was included. And so it showed it on the side and there it is. So I am going to be able to change that because there are the tools to change the blade. So that's great. Wouldn't even lose them because they're attached to the saw. Okay, I got 2 rows in. Usually after the 3rd or 4th row, it's easier because then I can get behind and pull the boards towards me to lock them in. First 3 rows, sometimes you just have to work with them. Okay, I got started on the 4th row, and this is coming to the easy part because once you get that 3rd, 4th row in, then you can sit on the part that you've already put in and pull them into you, and it's much easier to get them to lock in. And on my sheet here, you'll notice that I started putting in the numbers of the boards, and I was going in order, but on this particular one, the 9 board was just a little too much like those surrounding it, so I switched it to the 10. That's why it's all interchangeable. Just depends on what it looks like when I start laying it down. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Some days you think